Good morning, students. We'll continue our history lesson 7, anti-colonial movements and birth of nationalism. Just recall what we learned in the last class. The Great Revolt of 1857 and Indigo Revolt of 1859. The policy followed by the British, that is, the doctrine of paramountcy and the doctrine of lapse, to annex the territories, and the dress code of the soldiers tend to insensitivity to Indian cultural sentiments. So, the revolt started from the Chipais, especially from Mangal Pandey in the Bengal region on 29th March in 1857 and spread to other parts of North India, and it became a civil rebellion with the support of peasants, weavers, artisans, kings, queens, nawabs and zamindars. But finally the British, they suppressed this revolt. Now, the educated people started the ideas of nationalism and democratism for the welfare of people. So, in today's class, we'll see one by one. The first is about the rise of nationalism. The second half of the 19th century saw the emergence of national political consciousness among a new social class of English educated Indians. So here the English educated Indians, they started their role towards the nationalism. The flourishing of print media, both in vernacular and in English, played a significant role in circulating such ideas. So here, vernacular means regional languages. See, for example, in Tamil Nadu means in Tamil language, in Andhra means it may be in Telugu language, like that. Vernacular languages as well as in English language, the development of print media. So it played a significant role in circulating the ideas of nationalism. The educated Indians were working as lawyers, journalists, that means they work in the print media, government employees, teachers and doctors. They took the initiative to float political outfits such as Madras Native Association in 1852. These are some of the associations formed by the educated Indians. So first one, Madras Native Association, then East India Association of 1866, Madras Mahajana Sabha of 1884 and Pune Sarvajanik Sabha of 1870, the Bombay Presidency Association of 1885. So these are some of the associations formed by the educated Indians under the rise of nationalism. The second policy about economic critique of colonialism. That is, it is considered as the most significant contribution of an early Indian nationalists was the formulation of an economic critique of colonialism. That is, colonialism under the control of British. How the Indians, they suffered. Dadabhai Naoroji, Justice Ranade and Ramesh Chandra Dutt played a significant role in making this criticism about colonial economy. So they consider colonialism was the main obstacle to the India's economic development. Dadabhai Naoroji, Justice Ranade and Ramesh Chandra Dutt, they played an important role by making their criticism against the colonial economy. Under the colonial system, India is considered as a supplier of raw materials to the British and a market to dump British products. The colonial economy is affected by without any favorable returns back to India, and this is called as drain of wealth. That is, the British, they took all our raw materials and they made the finished products and they dumped their products in Indian economy, and in that way they suppressed the Sudesi product, that is, our homemade products were suppressed. This is called as drain of wealth. These are the basic reason for the foundation of Indian National Congress. Next topic is about the foundation of Indian National Congress. Indian National Congress is 1885 was established. It is an all India organization. A.O. Hume lent his services to facilitate the formation of the Congress, and Umesh Chandra Banerjee or W.C. Banerjee was the first president of Indian National Congress. Here, Indian National Congress was formed on 1885. Umesh Chandra Banerjee as the first president of Indian National Congress. The first session of the Indian National Congress was held on 28th December 1885. The objectives were to develop and consolidate sentiments of national unity, but also professed loyalty to Britain. The basic objectives of our Indian National Congress is to maintain national unity and as well as to show loyalty to British. The techniques included were appeals, petitions, and delegations to Britain, all done within a constitutional framework. Based on this Indian National Congress, they used the techniques of appeals, petitions, and delegations to Britain. That is, whenever they are facing a problem, they can appeal to the British according to the constitutional framework. So these are the basic objectives of the Indian National Congress or INC. Now we'll see what are the key demands of Indian National Congress. First one, creation of legislative council at provincial and central level, that is in each region as well as at central level. Then increasing number of elected members in the legislative council, separating judicial and executive function, separating judiciary from the executive function, and reducing military expenditure, because the British, they spend lot of money, Indian money, for their military things. So INC, they demanded to reduce military expenditures. The next one is reduction of home charges, even reduction of taxes. Then extension of trial by jury. Here jury means a judge should deal all cases. So they need a separate judiciary. Then holding civil service exams in India as well as in England. During that time, here civil service exams are the central government exam for the appointment of high officials in the governments. So here this INC demanded separate exams from India as well as in England. So they demanded that Indians should participate in these exams, and they demanded police reforms, reconsideration of forest law, and promotion of Indian industry, and an end to unfair tariff and excise duties. Same way here, Indian industries, they want to promote Indian industry, that is homemade industries, and then they want to reduce tariff. Here tariff means taxes, and excise duties, that is for export duties, they want to reduce. So these are the demands by Indian National Congress towards the British. Then Indian National Congress failed in demanding certain things from the British. The INC was splitted into another group called as extremists. Instead of prayers and petitions, these militants were focused on self-help. So it is called as militant nationalism. So INC was splitted into militants. So here this extremist people, they started to use some weapons against the British. So that is about our Indian National Congress. So Umesh Chandra Banerjee as a president of Indian National Congress. The first session was held at 28th December 1885. So they follow the techniques of appeals, petitions, and delegations to Britain, and everything based on a constitutional framework, and they demanded certain things from the British, but they failed in their demands. So among the Indian national people, they were splitted into another group called as extremists. So those who depend on petition and appeal, they were called as moderate leaders, and those who depend on weapons were called as militant nationalists or extremists. In that way, INC was splitted. Next topic is about Partisan of Bengal. So Partisan of Bengal in 1905 was the most unpopular of all events because here the British started to suppress the political activities of Indians based on the theory of divide and rule, and they creating Hindu-Muslim divide in Bengal region. So Partisan of Bengal in 1905. Under the Partisan of Bengal, Lord Curzon divided Bengal into Hindu people and Hindu, that is Bengali speaking Hindu people and Muslim people. So in that way he divided, that is the Bengal under two administrative units. So in one that is in the West Bengal, we have linguistic minority, that is Bengali speaking people are there in the West Bengal, and the East Bengal, it is the area for the Muslim, and there they can enjoy everything since the days of the Mughals. In that way, Curzon divided the Bengal. That is called as Partisan of Bengal of 1905. Though the people were divided based on linguism and religion, here they united under the growth of regional language newspapers. It played an important role in building a sense of proud Bengali identity. So the people were united under one head. Now the Bengali people, they united under one head, and now the moderate leaders were forced to rethink their strategy and look for new technique of protest. The boycott of British goods was one such method. So now the moderate, they started to protest against the British goods against this Partisan of Bengal. The militant nationalists on the other hand were in favor of extending the movement beyond Bengal and to initiate a full-scale mass struggle. So the moderate, they used this boycott of British, whereas the extremists, they spread this into other parts of India as a mass struggle. That is our anti-partisan movement. The Bengali people, they consider, that is the Bengal was officially partisan on 16th October 1905 was declared as a day of mourning. That is, they shown their sadness towards that day. So here both Hindus as well as Muslims, they consider that as a mourning for them. Then thousands of people took bath in the Ganga and marched on the streets of Kolkata singing Vande Mataram. So Vande Mataram as a song that shows patriotism for Indians. So that is about the anti-partisan movement against this partisan of Bengal. The moderate, they follow the boycott of British goods. They started Swadeshi movements in Bengal. So we have four major trends of Swadeshi movement. First one, the moderate trend. Second, constructive Swadeshi. Third, militant nationalism. And fourth one, revolutionary terrorism. These are the four Swadeshi movements started in Bengal region. Next one is the constructive Swadeshi. Under the constructive program, largely stressed upon self-help of the people. They opened that the Swadeshi shops sprang all over the places, selling textiles, handlooms, soaps, earthenware, match and leather goods. So here Swadeshi means the Indian made goods. So the Indians, they opened many shops all over the places and they started selling Indian textile goods, handlooms, soaps, earthenware, that is pot items like that, match and leather goods to the people. That is about the constructive Swadeshi. The second one is passive resistance under the Swadeshi program. So the Swadeshi program included 4 points. One is boycott of foreign goods, prohibiting of foreign goods, boycott of government schools and colleges, courts, titles and government services, and development of Swadeshi industries and national schools. So simply to prohibit the use of British goods as well as British schools and colleges. Instead of that, the Swadeshi things were started in India as a passive resistance against the partisan of Bengal. Under the militant nationalism, began Lala Lajpati Rai of Punjab, Balagangar Tilak of Maharashtra, and Bipin Chandra Pal of Bengal. Lala Lajpati Rai, Balagangar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal. They are the three prominent leaders during the Swadeshi period, and they were referred as Lal, Bal, Pal. Lal, Bal, Pal, Triumvirate. Triumvirate, the three great leaders. So that is about militant nationalism under the triumvirate of Lal, Bal, Pal. Under the Swadeshi movement, Punjab, Bengal and Maharashtra emerged as a hotbed of militant nationalism. Punjab, Bengal and Maharashtra, because we have the three prominent leaders under Lala Lajpati Rai, Balagangar Tilak and Bipin Chandra Pal. So these places were considered as hotbed of militant nationalism. In South India, Tuticorin became the most important location of Swadeshi activity, which the launch of Swadeshi Steam Navigation Company by B.O. Chidambarana. So in South India, in Tuticorin, B.O. Chidambarana started the Swadeshi Steam Navigation Company under the militant nationalism. Basic idea of extremists were to achieve Swaraj or self-rule for India. So for Tilak, Swaraj was the attainment of complete autonomy and total freedom from foreign rule. So that is the basic goal for the Swadeshi movement in India under Tilak. It is Swaraj. Swaraj means Swaraj or self-rule. So Tilak considers Swaraj is the birthright for Indian. Next topic is about Home Rule movement of 1916 to 1918. The Indian national movement was revived and also radicalized during the Home Rule movement led by Lokmanya Tilak and Annie Besant. So along with the Indian national movement, Indian National Congress, the Lokmanya Tilak and Annie Besant, they started this Home Rule movement in 1916. When Britain declared war against Germany in 1914, so that is our first world war, Britain, then the moderate and liberal leaders extended their support to the British cause. It was hoped that in return the British government would give self-government after the war. So that is during the First World War of 1914, the British people, they took our Indian soldiers to the First World War. So here the Indians also supported the British government. So Indians, they thought after the war is over, the British will give self-government to India. So that was the start for the Home Rule movement in India. But basically after the war, they didn't give freedom to India. So here the people, they started the Home Rule movement in 1916. Now we'll see what are the objectives of the Home Rule movement. First one, to attain self-government within the British Empire by using constitutional means. That is based on the constitutional law, we want to attain self-government. Then second one, to obtain the status of Dominion, a political position acquired later to Australia, Canada, South Africa and New Zealand. First one, either self-government or to obtain a status of Dominican status. That is like the countries of Australia, Canada, South Africa and New Zealand. Here India also interested to obtain this Dominican status. Then third one, to use non-violent constitutional method to achieve their goals. Here this home rule people also depend on non-violence. So these are the three basic objectives of the home rule movement led by Annie Besant and Lokmanya Tilak. Next one about Lucknow Pact of 1916. With the support of Home Rule Movement and Indian National Congress, here Lucknow Pact was signed. Here pact means an agreement was signed in 1916. So under this agreement, the Congress and the Muslim League, they agreed that there should be a self-government in India as soon as possible. So here the Hindus and the Muslim people, they united for the self-government of India, and in return the Congress leadership accepted the concept of separate electorate for Muslims. So these are the two agreements made under the Lucknow Pact in 1916. So first one, Indo-Muslim, they need for the self-government for India, and here the Congress accepted the concept of separate electorate for Muslims. That is the importance of Lucknow Pact of 1916. When the British, they divided the people on 1905 under the partition of Bengal, the people were united under Indian National Congress and Home Rule Movement, and they demanded for Swaraj. So the British government now they started to suppress the people in that way of they isolate the leaders by repressing their activities. So here they separated the leaders from the people and they prohibited their activities. And not only that, in 1919 the British government introduced Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. Under that reform they promised gradual progress of India towards self-government. And not only that alone, the government enacted a Rowlatt Act. Under the Rowlatt Act, which provided for arbitrary arrest and strict punishment for the people. So this Rowlatt Act and Chelmsford reforms will continue in the next lesson. So in that way the British they suppress the Indian activities against the freedom of India. In today's class, we learned about Indian National Congress under this Umesh Chandra Banerjee as a president of Indian National Congress, and later that Congress was divided into two groups, moderates and extremists. In later we got 1905, the Lord Curzon he divided the Bengal into two regions, that is partition of Bengal. So people shown their anti-partition movement and they boycott the foreign goods and they started Swadeshi movement in Bengal and other parts of India. And later with that Lokmanya Tilak and Annie Besant they started the Home Rule movement. So the divided people were united under these two movements and they demanded for Swaraj, and later the British they suppressed this. So we'll continue the other events in the next lesson. Thank you, Ma.